This is a video about requesting public records from the local government, records from the Sheriff's Department and from County Counsel in San Mateo County.
Hi. Can you guys tell me where the sheriff's office is?
Yeah, it's going to be at 330 Bradford. It's right next to the jail.
So,
If you go out here to the left and walk across the street,
yeah,
it'll be right there.
thank you.
This is Susan Bassey, and this is a video about local government and the relationship between the Sheriff's Department, County Council, and the media, the legacy media that disseminates information to the public about the business of the local government, the business the public has a right to know.
Hi. You getting B-Reel for the sheriff's story?
There is a difference between how legacy media reports on the local government and how we report on the local government here on social media.
Records Bureau.
Under the law, the public and the press are required to be treated equally when it comes to requesting public records. And how those records are used depends on who's requesting them. A beat reporter from legacy media may be able to get all the records they need online from the county website. A First Amendment auditor, a cop watcher, or an investigative reporter might need to go into a police department or sheriff's department and ask for a roster and other information about the police department to support their reporting. And then there are the records such as this report that was recently published in San Mateo County. The report was done by a retired Santa Clara County judge, Judge Ladoris Cordell, and it outlines a culture that includes conflicts of interest, bias, corruption, including a non-sworn officer working for the sheriff who was involved in cutting real estate deals. And 5 years ago, I requested records from Santa Clara County related to all claims brought against police officers and county employees. And the county council took 5 years to give us those records. Many of them are heavily redacted, but those records tell a story of all the lawsuits and settlements that cost taxpayer money for bad employees, and many of these stories were never published or made it to the headlines in legacy media.
Hi there. How are you? I need a records request for access. I'm asking under Government Code 6253A, and it might have been updated to a new code numbering, but I'm asking just for a roster of the Sheriff's Department, and I am asking for the last published organizational chart for the department.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Sure.
And if you've watched this channel, you know there's a difference between asking for records that a public agency should have available for the public to access and inspect, and asking for records that might require a 10-day or longer waiting period. And this video explains the difference.
Form out, that's fine. I'll fill it out for you.
Okay.
But you're not going to get it today.
Okay, so I'm going to document the non-compliance. The California Public Records Act requires that I'm filming you.
Response within 10 days.
No, there is a separate part under Government Code 6253A that says the public has a right during normal business hours to come in and access and inspect records. I'm not asking for anything that should require a lot of digging. I just read the 400-page report that was issued by retired Judge Ladoris Cordell, and it was very critical of the department not having a organization chart under the new sheriff. So I'm asking for the last published organization chart. That should be...
Okay, so I was told you were asking for a list of all employees.
And all employees. I'm asking for a list of employees, and I'm asking, you should have the list of employees that work for your department.
We do have it available, but we have to review it because we remove all undercover agents. And with the PRA, we have 10 days to respond to.
Then you should have a list ready for the public to access on that. Okay, so that's a complaint I'm filing because that's non-compliant.
That it comes from another bureau that I have to contact.
Okay, then contact the bureau, and I'm going to give you my name and my email address, and I'd like it emailed to me as soon as you have it, and I don't want to wait 10 days for it.
Your name?
Susan Bassey, Bassi.
Police and sheriff's departments in Santa Clara County got in trouble when it was discovered that they were asking, as part of their policies and procedures, for people to give identification when they were requesting public records. You don't need to give your name, you don't need to give identification, and you can have records emailed to an email address that doesn't reveal who you are. You can also have them mailed to a P.O. box or an address where you can collect the records. And we do this so that people aren't subjected to retaliation for requesting records. But just as police officers will ask for ID when they aren't entitled to get it, a number of people working in public agencies will tend to ask for who is requesting these records.
And that's BASSI.
So you want complete list of employees.
I want a complete list of staff that works for the sheriff's department in San Mateo County. So I understand what you're saying about,
Organizational chart.
yes, but I don't want to wait for the organization chart because that should be published and that's been put somewhere before this sheriff came in.
Where it's not on our website, I will go and look and see. I have to go for a few hours before I can.
That's fine. I got things to do so I can come back in and out, but I need it by 5 o'clock today.
Come back.
Veronica Lopez on the third floor.
You can call me. I'll give you my phone number when it's ready. I'll come access it. It's 8.
Every year, San Mateo County operates on an annual budget with billions of dollars, and that includes for managing the police department. And yet here in the center of Silicon Valley, they didn't have a roster or an organizational chart. They didn't even have a computer where they could point me to, as we found in the Davis Police Department a few weeks ago. So Jennifer offered to get me her card and promised that she would call me back when the records were ready. And I told her that I would stay in town until 5 o'clock, which I did, but we never did get the records. So we decided to head over to County Counsel and see how they were handling the records. Nope, this way. All of the 58 counties in California have a group of attorneys known as County Counsel. These are the attorneys who review public records requests and decide what should be redacted and what the public has a right to see. They're the attorneys that contract reports, such as the one just done on the San Mateo sheriff, and they're also the attorneys who defend sheriff's deputies and other public employees who are the subject of lawsuits.
No, I'm looking for county counsel. I need to get some records.
Right here.
Okay. So I need to do a records request.
Records request? Okay. Okay, what was your name?
To be clear, nobody is obligated to give their name when making a public records request. You can be Jane Q. Public, and you can ask for those records to be sent to a P.O. box or to an email account that doesn't easily identify you so that you won't be subject to retaliation. I don't mind giving my name when I'm doing records requests because it's part of my job. But I want to point out what a great job this young county council employee did, because he was new on the job, and when he knew he didn't understand exactly what he was supposed to do, he went and asked for help.
So that's womansvcourtwatch@gmail.com.
Correct.
Okay, give me 1 second. Because I'm kind of new here, so I've never done a records request, so.
You know what? I appreciate you asking.
Yeah, of course.
There used to be right there on the counter.
It's
Here,
not.
this one. This is public records. You want to give her a pen?
Yeah.
So this is.
I don't want to write it out.
San Mateo County, much like Santa Clara, sits in the heart of Silicon Valley. And over the last 2 decades, all of the public records have been rolled into databases, and typically those records are requested through email, where the county council reviews the records, gathers them up, redacts what needs to be redacted, and then produces the records. So it's unusual when somebody goes into an office recording county council and their records request.
And then when you're done, just date stamp it on the back as received.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
We're gonna learn this together.
Yes, we are. All right.
I appreciate you asking for help when you didn't know. That
yeah,
was
I
good.
didn't want to do it wrong or anything. So name Lexi Logan, right?
So you're going to send it to Lexi Logan. My name is Susan Bassey, but you're going to send it to Lexi Logan
Okay.
at womensvcourtwatch@gmail.com. That's where we'd like the record sent.
Okay, that's the email. Woman. Do you have a good contact phone number that you like?
You can use mine,
Okay, yeah.
831.
This young man was respectful, was clearly trying to help me, and also understood when I tried to give him a little guidance that it could make people uncomfortable to give their name or their phone numbers related to a public records request. He seemed to understand that, and he was polite in how he handled my requests.
Next question, is the request urgent? You want me to put yes?
Yes.
Okay. And then date needed, when would you, within 10
The
days?
public records request stipulates to 10 days, but they always can they do an extension for 14? Just put that we are requesting it as soon as possible. It's based on ongoing newsworthy public interest issues.
Okay. And then I'll also just put the P.O. box you gave me as well.
That's fine. I only want records sent there if it's too big to email, correct?
So I'll just write that in parentheses.
Right. He's doing a great job, by the way. We're going over all these little things.
He's the newest addition to the office, so that's why,
And
we're in training.
I don't want to make him nervous. I'm trying to train everybody how to do this without being a big fiasco.
No worries.
It's fine.
P.O. box, and you said 2220.
Right, in Los Gatos, California. And that's just mine, and I'm managing and supervising this project. So I'd prefer it be sent to Lexi Logan at Women SV, but if you need to reach me or they're struggling to clarify or anything, then I'd be happy to step in.
Okay. And your name?
My name is Susan Bassey.
May I ask the last name spelled?
It's B as in boy, ASSI, like the fish with an eye on it.
Okay, perfect.
Are you ready?
Yeah, so...
Okay, so number one, I want a copy of all policies and procedures for county council. Number two, a roster of all the staff in county council. Number three, all records related to the requesting, procurement, and payment for the investigation and audit report recently conducted by retired Judge Ladoris Cordell.
Okay, so I might have to...
I'll repeat that if
Yeah.
you need me to.
Yes, please. All records related to the procurement and...
Procurement, I can't even remember what I
I
said.
think in fiscal,
So I want all records. So it would be the procurement, the qualifications of what was to be investigated, any instructions for the investigation, and all financial records related to the budgeting and the cost and the payment for issuing the 400-page report that was issued. The report you guys have linked online, so we have a copy of that.
Okay.
So what we're looking for is
qualifications, instructions of investigation,
And fiscal.
budget and fiscal
records.
records.
So what we're really
and
looking for, just,
preparation of
and I'm going to
investigative report.
clarify this because that'll help you in how we word it if you need to ask a special way. We're looking for how it was initiated, how it was directed. We have the report, so we know what she did. We're looking for any limitations in the scope because I read the report and there's not real clarity in that about, how that all came to be. Was it based on complaints? Was it based on?
So you could put the initiation of the report and scope
Right, that's a good word, scope.
for the investigation of sheriff's office or sheriff corpus, whatever.
I'm sleeping on the job.
Of Sheriff's Corpus investigation.
Yes.
I'm just trying to, I'll probably ask you to make a copy of that for me, but I'm just making sure I communicate it correctly.
Yeah.
So I have here a copy of all policies and procedures of county council as 1. 2 being the roster of all staff in county council. 3, I have all records related to the procurement and qualifications, instructions of investigation, the budget and fiscal records of investigative report. And then I have initiation and scope of report for the investigation of Sheriff Corpus investigation.
Yes. And usually when you're doing a records request, you ask for the time period that they want the records so that, because otherwise it's overly broad. And so I'm going to narrow the time period that I'm making this request. And I'm making it from 2015 to now. I know that sounds like a long time, but I'm doing it for my next 2 requests.
So do,
For the
records
time period.
requested for time period.
Right, for time period of 2015 to production. And we word it by production because if you guys don't produce it until 2026, I get all the records from 2025 and everything else.
Okay.
And you can always continue.
You might have to flip over to the backside because I've got 2 more requests.
Okay.
But they're easier.
Are they related to the same thing or other?
It's all, I need all these records that I'm requesting for what I'm doing right now.
No, I was just going to say then he might do a different form if it's a different topic. If it's all related to this.
The request usually even if it's different topics, goes on the same request. That's how county council would probably process it and then review it, and then they have to go out. So it's all for the same. I don't want to do 2 different requests because it's too hard for me to manage it.
Okay. So I put record requested for time period of 2015 to production.
Right. And then the 2 things that I'm asking for with that time period are 1, the Sheriff's Department organization charts
Put an asterisk and put C additional requests
on the back.
on the back.
Okay.
And then start writing.
Good idea.
Okay. Whenever.
Okay, so this is for Sheriff's Department organization charts.
Okay, sure.
So in that report, there was a big deal about that there wasn't an organization chart for the new sheriff after 2022. So I would want,
Put dash request for.
Okay.
So it's request for sheriff org chart.
so if that org chart changed over the years, I want to get the copies of what changed.
Okay.
That's the purpose.
So what if we put from 2015 to production? Like
Yeah,
we did the
that's
other one?
right.
So request for, and then
The other ones
all.
to production, I don't need to capture that whole period of time. That's what I was trying to say. I only care about limiting the time period and being clear of the time I want these. So I'm looking for the Sheriff's Department org charts from 2015 until now, and I understand there's not one for right now, which was in the report, but I want all the ones that were up until that.
Until, yeah.
Okay?
Time period 2015 to production, okay?
And then this is the last one.
Okay.
Okay, all records related to a nonprofit known as Women SV,
Known as or to?
as it's called, the nonprofit is called Women SV.
Watch. Is it the
Women, just the word women with a capital S and a capital V. And its founder, Ruth Patrick, and that's RUTHPATRICK.
Okay.
And then do an AKA because she also sometimes goes by the name of Ruth Darling. DARLENE. Ruth Darlene.
Oh, Darlene.
Yeah. So specifically, that is a nonprofit that deals with domestic violence. And we know she has a pattern and practice of applying for grants from counties and cities. So if she's emailed, sent her newsletter, applied for grants.
So nonprofit, and any documentation related to her practice of applying for
Grants,
county
county grants. Stop.
Specifically, this is nonprofit and any documentation related to their practice
for applying
for
county grants. Was there more?
And in connection with the county's domestic violence council and all communications she may have had with the appointees to the council.
The county's domestic violence council. And
So the reason I'm wording it that way is when they send out the records request, I want them to know to send to their appointees. And I do want that for the time period of 2015 to now. So if
appointees.
any communications were sent to those individuals introducing the nonprofit, requesting grants, and this is the last one and the tricky part. I'll talk slowly. You see why I had you write instead of me?
yeah. Okay. I'll just do it down here then.
Yeah, you could do it under the stamp, it's fine.
Okay, so the tricky part is in 2024, she obtained post-training,
Who's she?
Ruth Patrick of that nonprofit. So I also want any records that might be related to her soliciting training of any San Mateo sheriff's deputy or captain or police chief or
Any and all records.
any and all records related to communications with Ruth Patrick or the organization Women SV related to police officer training in the sheriff's department, in probation department, in any law enforcement agency in the county.
Requesting any and all records for communication of, it's Ruth Patrick. Of
Any training, so what she's doing is she's offering to train police officers, and we're trying to find out how many police officers might have been influenced by her training. And she did do it before she had post-certification.
and Ruth Patrick training. Did you say there was a name of the training?
Post, which is this California certified training for all police officers.
Providing.
Okay. And you said you would like a picture, right?
Yeah, I'll just take a picture of that. Is that okay? And that was the end of my video when I took the picture of the records request. And this young new hire in San Mateo County did an excellent job, and all public employees should behave just that way when a records request is being made. He was diligent, he was polite, and he did the job. And now we move into investigating privately, where private attorneys and individuals at the center of our investigation are not obligated to produce records. Hey, my name's Susan Bassey, and I'm a reporter, and I was wondering if Mr. Montalvo is in. I wanted to ask him about the nonprofit Women SV.
Oh, okay. He is. I don't know that he's available. What is that nonprofit Women SV?